Hey there everybody, it's Wayne D. Welcome to the website. We're looking at the swing of Sean Powers. Sean is the PGA head professional at Fairview Country Club. I believe that's in Connecticut. Sean comes down in the winter, likes to play some competitive golf. Got in touch with me, wanted to improve his ball striking a bit, but he's a good player. Um, Shoots under par, wins some money. Alright, so let's talk about what is going on and what I think would help Sean strike the ball better. First of all, this setup where he gets himself closed in the lower body so you can see how much of that left leg you can see. That's just something that I think would be rectified with an slightly open stance. I think I'm going to try to get him to remember to pull that left leg back and maybe pull that left knee back a little bit so it doesn't encourage him to swing inside and across. So here's the swing. So you can, when he does the waggle, you can see we're trying to get the club to come up the plane, but in his normal swing his legs are already twisting early, so we're going to get the club a little behind under the plane, club face not necessarily dead closed or anything, but as it works up from here, it's not going to rotate anymore. So the right forearm is not supinating and the left forearm's not pronating. So it's going to be difficult from left arm parallel. You know that club is pretty close to being on plane the way it's moving up there. And you can see how the right arm is pulling behind him. So the shoulder's retracting. And without that right forearm supination to externally rotate the shoulder, the club is going to have a hard time pointing in the right direction. Now, in the downswing, you'll see the hands will have a slight back movement and the shaft will kick, but it will kick and stay steep from there. And if you watch the right arm, it's pulling back in transition so that when the legs start down, the arm is pinning itself back. So you can see how far up it is on the side. So when that thing tries to get back in front of him, so he's going to have to flatten that shaft quite a bit. And this is the pattern that happens with this type of action, right arm motion. The arm is very bent, trying to get back in front, and the club has to do a lot of flattening late in the swing, so it just tends to be difficult to get it to plane. And you can see here it just gets a little behind the hands. Now, Sean's a good player, so he's got excellent rhythm. He can put the club on the ball, but you know, again, competing at a high level, he would like to improve this a little bit. Alright, so what do we do with this? So the first thing that I wanted him to get was the feeling of starting the club off and keeping the club outside of his hands. So I want that left shoulder to feel like it's coming more inward and the club to stay out, and then once it's there, I want him to keep turning the trunk and rotate those forearms so the club gets pointed more to the left. So here the problem is the right arm is staying so stuck in front that it's causing the left to roll. So we want to do this without rolling that left arm up, because that's going to lay the shaft off a little bit too much, and you can see how it kind of fixes itself. And this is a practice swing. So this is the motion that we're eventually want to get out of there, is that pullback right arm But you can see that if the club is more left and not going up and across, when this action happens, that's a better position for the club already. So he doesn't have to flatten it late in the swing. It's already on plane, so look how nicely that comes on his hands. So now he's going to go over to hit this. And let's see what he does with this. So again, there's the closed lower body. He's going to pull that right leg back pretty quick. The club's going to dart a little in and get up across. But in this case, the shaft is not as far behind him, so we're getting better at it. Now we're going to see a couple of drills where I'm going to have him stop a couple times. So we're going to stop at like P1.5, and then we're going to stop at the top. You can see the club's laid off. Now there's a pretty good chance that if the club is that laid off, that it's going to steepen a little bit. If we're looking at players who do stuff like that, take a look at Ricky Fowler. So you can see in Fowler's swing, the lower body is not closed. So he's worked real hard on getting this club to stay in front of him early. So again, at P1.5, it's in front of the hands, and it's going to flip up over the forearm. So the shaft is here. Now, he really is going to rotate the forearms hard here, and when he sticks his arm in front of him like this, watch what happens. He's going to continue the turn. That club is definitely a little bit laid off, and when it comes down, it's going to slightly steepen to put it back on plane. Right? Now here's the big difference. When Fowler steepens the shaft, his right arm has no retraction in it. His shoulders protracted, his shoulders forward. So he's been able to keep that arm angled in front of him. And when he starts forward, watch, he's going to drive it right back, right in. So if you look at that movement of the forearm, it's going to go this way. And then if you look at Sean, it's not going to do that even from the top, even right from the top. This is how ingrained that action is. When he starts down, right, you can see that arm's going to move from here, and it's going to move backwards. So Fowler's going to get his upper arm nicely in front of him, and Sean's going to have his stuck behind his side somewhat. So you can see, and this is something that Fowler's gotten a lot better at, in releasing around to the left rather than chasing way out to the right like he used to. So anyway, let's take a look at how I'm going to go about trying to get this to change a little bit. So I want Sean to feel like he's going to increase this angle between the left arm and the shaft as he starts. And then right about here, we want to feel like that club face begins to rotate open, but the shoulder is going to stay down. So he's got to grind that upper arm in. So if you supinate the left arm a lot, it'll drive that upper arm in. So you can do that and then rotate the forearm. You can pronate your forearm while leaving the upper arm into the chest, and that's what I'm trying to get him to feel here. So I'd like to get the right arm to just have a little more freedom and not pinch so hard in front of him. So I'm really trying to keep that arm down, left arm, And in this case, as I did that to him, he felt like the club got a lot lighter in those positions where it didn't feel like he was either laying it off and supporting it with the left hand fingers or getting under it and crossing. So from here, now watch what happens. So there's that little right arm movement that is so subtle, but you can see it. And this is from a real nice spot at the top. He's still gonna start down, and you can see him move that. Here's the tip of the elbow right there. You can see it. It just moves back this way a little bit. And again, that leaves the arm a little behind. So we're trying to get that backswing up in a nice spot, and then in the start down, that's when you have the possibility of sort of rewiring how the trunk movement, when it starts from the bottom, gets the right arm to move forward. So forward and down is adduction, combination adduction. Adduction is really straight down, and horizontal adduction would be everything coming out straight out to the side, but we want to get that thing to angle down in front of him, so we want this arm to feel like it's driving down and forward in front of his hip. So even though that arm did that just a hair, you can see, look where the club is coming from now. And look at the right arm's got more room. So that's what we were trying to do. Simplify so the mechanics down at the bottom of the swing are more repeatable.